All right, welcome back. It's now 2 years, 4 months, and over 20 days since more than 200 schoolgirls were kidnapped in Chibok, Borno State, northeast Nigeria, by Boko Haram insurgents. And since then, freeing the girls have been a Herculean task. This is despite an initial global effort to find and rescue the girls. Now, in what seems to be bowing to pressure, if you like, from Bring Back Our Girls campaigners and parents of the abducted Chibok girls, President Buhari says his government is now ready to swap Boko Haram fighters in detention for the girls. The government has come under heavy criticism in recent times by parents of the abducted girls and civil society organizations over its failure to secure the release of the girls. Now, some parents have even gone to the extent of calling on the president to resign over his failure to bring back the abducted girls. President Buhari, speaking in Nairobi, Kenya, recently said government is ready to negotiate the swap with the authentic Boko Haram group. The president also said the terrorist group could even pick any internationally recognized NGO as an intermediary for the swap deal. In fact, we're now learning that in the past weeks, security agents actually took some Boko Haram prisoners to a point where the exchange was supposed to happen, but that the Boko Haram representatives did not show up. We also understand that this has happened on 2 different occasions and that the Boko Haram representative simply failed to show up. Now, the decision to swap the terrorists for the Chibok girls have been greeted with mixed reactions by Nigerians and security experts, with some warning that it's a wrong move, while others say it's not too much a price to pay to get these girls released. I'm now being joined on the program by security analyst Oluwaseun DEJI360, who of course joins us from Victoria Island, and lawyer and human rights campaigner Nkechi Onyenso, who joins us in the studio here. Let me start from you, Mr. DEJI360. As a security analyst, do you think the government is taking the wrong step by agreeing to exchange Boko Haram prisoners for these girls?
Well, thank you very much. I don't think so. From professional standpoint, I will support this over and over again. Like I've been saying before, that military action is not an option in these circumstances. Unfortunately, not many Nigerians actually want to see situations this way, largely because we've been fed with so much lies that we begin to see ourselves as being incapable of doing the right thing. Many believe that if government want to get these guys out with military might, that they could have done that. And many believe that if it had happened in other climes, they would have been able to bring these girls out. But the truth is this, not even Obama as a president can sanction military action to recover these girls if they had been American citizens. The truth is this is not like watching American movies, Hollywood movies. This is not like reading all those fantasy stories and novels. This is reality. We're talking about over 200 girls. I've not seen where this is possible anywhere in the world. We're not talking about hostage situation now. This is not an hostage situation. This is kidnapping. We're talking about groups that are known for having the potentials of dying, ready to die in the course of trying to achieve or push forward their cause. So government is taking the right action. And like I said in my previous interview, that such an action or effort, had been taken in the past and against all professional advice. If you remember, sometime in early 2012, 3 engineers were kidnapped by Boko Haram, and they were kept in somewhere in Sokoto. In fact, they were actually being moved from one location to the other. And the intelligence community in Nigeria assessed the situation, and they advised the home countries of the engineers, that country needs to take caution that military action or a rescue operations will not work. But against the advice of the Nigerian intelligence community, the British government felt that they can do better. but maybe largely because of the way many people see Nigeria security agency or intelligence community as not being capable. And they decided to go ahead with their operation, despite the sophistry of the British intelligence and security forces. The Bo Squad came into Nigeria, and in an attempt to extract those three engineers out away from the hands of the Boko Haram, they were killed. They were all killed. In fact, they were killed before the operation guys got even close to the house where they were kept. We need to understand this, that we've made lots of mistakes as
if I may interrupt you, for you, security.
You're trying to say something?
Should I say military intervention in this case is not an option at all, because there could be catastrophic consequences, right?
Exactly. It's not that there could be, there will be. I have been in this for quite a long time. I am speaking to you as a professional, not as an armchair analyst, not as a textbook professional. I have been on the field. This is something I have done for so many years. So I can tell you for sure the girls will be killed.
All right, let me bring in, I'm still going to come back to you, but let me bring in Mrs. Nkechi Onyenso here. For you, I mean, it's quite clear from his own standpoint as a security analyst that military option is just not the best way to go about it. But it's also a difficult situation when you are trying to negotiate with a group of people who are not, so willing to negotiate with you. It's a difficult one.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And in fact, the whole scenario for me is not clear. We start from the point where we're saying were the girls actually kidnapped or not.
There was this denial.
Yes, so it's like
in denial
right from the beginning there were the issues around this. My concern is this. I'm not an expert. I'm not a security specialist, but my concern is from an average point of view. If we negotiate now, when does it stop? Are we going to keep negotiating? Do people now think, okay, I can hold the government down to a point that the government has to speak with me and negotiate with me? So we have to consider that point of view. Are we opening a door for what we cannot handle going forward? But then as a parent, you'll be like, anything that can be done should be done to get these girls back. My concern is this. The whole reason why we come together as a country in the first place is because the government is supposed to guarantee our security. That's the business of coming together. If not, everybody can be their own personal army. But if we are saying to the world, we cannot guarantee the safety and security of our citizenry, hence us having to come down to this. Is it the right signal to be sending out at this point in time? Especially as we're looking for having foreign investors coming into the country. So it's I don't think it's as clear cut, as my colleague has said. I think there's so many angles we have to look at. Now, if military action is not an option, as he has said, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. What is the guarantee that those girls will actually be released when the Boko Haram captives, are exchanged? What's the guarantee? You may get there and then they may give you the terms of release, because as you've already said, twice now they didn't show up. They give you the terms and then you come with the captives and then you have a shootout and in the end some girls still die, their people still get freed. So you have to look, I think they have to have a more holistic view of this. The specialists really need to sit down and say, okay, yes, this is the way to go.
It doesn't appear groups like Bring Back Our Girls campaign and even the parents, as you said, that even as a parent too, I mean, you would be eager to get these girls released. It doesn't appear they're understanding the kind of, should I say, conundrum that the government would seem to be finding itself in now, because it's like you're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. You negotiate, where does it end? You don't negotiate. Yeah. What happens to the girls?
We have to come to a point, Nigeria has to come to a point where we sit down and we actually assess situations. We have to come to a point where we are less sentimental and more rational. As I said, I'm not a specialist in this field, but I know that starting this negotiation door, nobody knows where it will end. Once a group of people feel, I can get to a point where the government has no choice than to speak. That is what all terrorists want. They want to talk to the government. And that's why some government says, on no grounds will we negotiate with terrorists. Because once you start negotiating, where do you end? But then again, we have the parents of these girls that want their daughters back. And the government owes them that responsibility to ensure that their daughters are released. So I think we need to sit down and be sure, okay, can we even trust, if it's okay, let's exchange. Can we even trust this treaty? Can we even trust at the point of exchange there will be an exchange? Can we even trust it is really who will identify the Boko Haram girls at the point of exchange? Their parents will be there to say, yes, that's my daughter, that's my daughter. You know, we have to look at this, you know, holistically. We have to take time to view this before we say, okay, yes, that's the way to go. A mother, I want my kids back, I totally understand that. But then the government has to think a bit further than that.
Mr. Adetayo, this is surely a difficult situation for the government to handle. I mean, let's face it, what we are learning is that on 2 occasions, government representative got to the point of rendezvous, if you like, at the point where the exchange was supposed to happen, and that the Boko Haram guys were just a no-show. And we understand this has actually happened on 2 occasions. How do you explain this?
Okay, you see, unfortunately, I may not be able to give my colleague at the other side is sharing news. And the more reason that I've been telling people that it is high time that we remove emotions out of the situation that we have now. The less Nigerians talk about this, the better for the girls, the better for the security agencies. The less the civil rights movements, you know, speak about this now, the better. You see, we need to understand something here today. I'm not apportioning blame to anybody in particular because, like I said before, you know, this Boko Haram situation was new to us. It came at a time that we weren't prepared as a nation and we weren't prepared as a people to be able to tackle insurgency and terrorism in Nigeria. And as such, each and every one of us were taking actions that we felt good for us to take at every point in time. And it was in the process that we began to learn, you know, what should be done and what should not be done. I want to say it for emphasis here that lots of mistakes were made at the time that this situation happened. One of it was response from the state government, response from the federal government, response from civil rights movements as well. One of the reasons why these girls are still in captivity today is because of the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls. We need to understand this. Over 15,000 girls, you know, had been kidnapped by this group. And security agencies have been able to recover lots of them. Why these girls? The reason is this. The moment that hashtag Bring Back Our Girls went on here, and I said it that time, I said we have played price on those girls. Now we need to understand how terrorists works. They are ready to lay hold on anything they can leverage on that can make people to listen to them. We have made these girls to be so special, such that it has attracted international, you know, attention. As such, they are quick to cash in on it. That anything they do with these girls, the whole, international world, the whole world will be interested. So that's the reason why they decide to keep these girls and make sure that the girls, the girl became more than gold to them. Now, I want us to understand this. These people, as they are now, the only lifeline they have is these girls. Are these girls. And they are ready to use it as a bargaining chip. If you go for any military operations, they will hold on to these girls because they know that as long as you know that these girls are there, you will not be able to strike them. And at worst, they will use the girls as a body shield, and they will hold on to them till their last blood. So we need to understand that. That's why I said that enough of emotions in this. There are so many things that the security agencies can do if we try to, allow them to do what they need to do. It's not about blaming who. It's not about blaming Bring Back Our Girls movement. It's not about blaming Borno State government. It's not about blaming the past government or the present government. It's about us as a nation to learn from our mistakes and decide to say, now at this particular point in time, it is important for us to move on as a nation. Now, on the issue of the exchange that you mentioned, see, we can't predict, and that's why it's largely functions of intelligence, logistics, and military tactics that will guarantee the success of the operation. Lots of things are, that we have to bring a lot of things in, into consideration here. And like I said before, the video we saw had just about 40 to 50 girls in that picture, and I can tell you for sure, I've tried to consult my colleagues that I know that are in position also to know as much as, or even much more than I know, that the group currently negotiating with government, or the one we saw the picture, they are having only a handful of those girls. We should remember that intelligence of the past has suggested that these girls were shared among various Boko Haram commanders, and of recent, so we heard of factions within the Boko Haram leadership. So it means that the particular Boko Haram commander speaking to the whole world and calling for negotiation, is calling for negotiation based on the numbers of girls in his own captivity. Fine. I'm happy, I was happy when I saw that list. If we can push that through, at least those girls too will breathe the air of freedom. Then we can now start working on how to get the remaining girls. We also need to understand that it's not just about exchange. Post-exchange is equally important. There's something we call psychological first aid. There must be preparation for psychological first aid. There must be preparation for intelligence operations, because those girls, each and every one of them are reservoirs of intelligence. So it's not about getting the girls and reuniting them with their family, because other girls too, they have to be rescued. And security agencies can get enormous information from these girls. Immediately we succeed in getting them out. That will help in being able to rescue the remaining girls.
All right, I get your point. Let me just pause you there and bring in Mrs. Nkechi Onye. So, for you, what do you think is critical? Because in this case, it appears, as he has pointed out, that the group that actually came out with this number of girls, number 40 girls, we were told, may not have all the girls. So for you, what's important? Should the government, just try as much as it can, if it could, to negotiate the release of these girls piecemeal, if possible, and for instance, try to get 40 out, then try to see if some other group is keeping another 40, try to get them out, or just go for wait for a full-scale negotiation to get everybody out at the same time?
You see, this further emphasizes what I said earlier on. We just need to sit there and critically look to see if we are sure this is the way to go. Because, he says, my colleague says, you get these girls out, and then from the girls you can get information that can help you get the other girls, which is good. But then you look at the other side. There's always another side of the coin, which is you give them back their own people that has been with us, and they know what we are thinking. Yes, and they too go back with information. Okay, look, this is what we've heard. This is what they're leaning towards, and then they go and reinforce. So it's something we need to sit down and think about. It goes back to what I said earlier on. Is there going to be somebody at the point of exchange to identify that these are the girls? They just pick anybody and say, yeah, these are the people you want. Then when we now get back to the towns and the villages, and the president, no, this is not our daughters. At the point of exchange, have we done enough to ensure that the girls that we're supposed to be receiving are our Chibok girls? Because
it means, for instance, if you're releasing 50 girls at the same time, you probably might be needing 50 parents to go there and identify them.
Possibly, you need to identify
and
people.
That would be a very difficult thing.
So it's to say, okay, they can just give you 50 ladies, and then when you get back to the town, they say those are not our girls. I'm just saying, I'm not saying we should not exchange these girls. I'm not saying we should. I'm saying if the government decides that's the way to go, I want to believe they have enough intelligence and facts and figures that has ensured them that that's the best way for Nigeria to go. And they have done enough to ensure that the girls that are being released are the girls we've been looking for all these years. And then they also have to bear in mind that they are opening a door. You can always start a mob, but you can't control it.
Yeah, you're quite right. But don't you think there's also a possibility that this whole negotiation, if it actually worked eventually, could lead to the resolution of this the Boko Haram insurgency as a whole. That if that door could be opened to, to talk with these guys, then there's a possibility that you could take this negotiation now beyond the release of the girls into talking to these guys now out of this whole insurgency.
Maybe I need to be advised, because I think we need to know what is the vision and mission of Boko Haram in the first place. And from what I have read and what I know, I don't think any negotiation, it's a one-door street. We want this or nothing. They made it very clear. They've made it very clear what they want from the Nigerian government. And anybody that stands in their way, they've made it very clear what they're going to do to the people that stand in their way. So I don't know how you're going to negotiate yourself out of that. It has become, Boko Haram is not just a thing. It's not a way of life. It's the belief for a group of people. So you're talking about changing a group of people's belief, which is one of the most difficult things you can do. And I don't think negotiating over the beliefs of girls will change their way of life, their thinking, their thoughts, their orientation. It took years to build up and prepare them to be able to take actions that they have taken. I don't think a few weeks, a few months, will just wipe everything away and they're ready to talk again. As we have all noticed, Boko Haram started as one group. It has broken down into fractions. You get one fraction, what about the other fractions? Are you going to get everybody at the same time? Some people in Boko, in fact, we had it when we had the Niger Delta militants. Let me just diverse a bit. At a point in time, a group of people were ready to drop their arms and go with the government, but they're not everybody. We still had some people we had to deal with, So when you negotiate with this group, what guarantee do you have that every other group will follow? I think we need to really go down to the board and try to start afresh. Okay, where have we gone wrong? I maintain the main reason for this in Nigeria, I can't speak for anyone else in the world, is poverty. People are hungry. People are hungry.
My only challenge with what you're saying is, if you were speaking to the Bring Back Our Girls campaigners now, what exactly would you be saying to them? Because they don't, it would appear that they are not looking at things from your perspective, because for them, just get these girls out by any means possible.
As a parent, yes, please get these girls out. But I wouldn't really say by any means possible. No. I think our government owes us a higher duty of responsibility to ensure our security at the same time.
That is true. We have a situation that we have to deal with.
Yes, but bring back our girls, but don't open the door of demons to come through it. Don't give, I'm hungry, you give me a biscuit, and I know that for the next 3 years I have nothing else to eat. Bring back our girls. Do all you can as a government. Use all your resources as a government. Use all your time. Allocate the right amount of time and budget to bringing back our girls. If you need to get experts to help you, to join you, please do that. If from all your intelligence advice, it says the best thing to do is to negotiate these girls out, fine, but every repercussion that can be expected after, are you prepared for it as a government?
Mr. Adetayo, let me just get a closing word from you on this.
Okay, DEJI, I think I'm actually going to give you more than closing words, because I've actually wanted to react before, because she made mention of some things. It is important because I know people are listening, and some people might really want to, catch in on that, to believe that is how things work. But no, it doesn't work that way. Number one, the exchange we're talking about here, it's not about exchanging clothes or exchanging, going to buy building materials where you need to inspect things. It's important that she understand, and Nigeria needs to understand, that we are not in control as it is now. You are not in control of the exchange, and that is how it is all over the world. Even America, I assure you, if Obama is the president of Nigeria, he cannot do better than what these governments are doing now. The CIA have been in this country for so many years now. They've been trying to assist. They can't do better. Nigerians guys are far better than them when it comes to this issue. They've demonstrated that couple of times, and they know, because we understand our terrain, we understand our problem much more than they do. Now back to the issue. You see, when you want to organize an exchange like that, it's not like about you bringing their own people, then they bring your own people. You meet at somewhere in the forest and do your exchange. No, it doesn't work that way. They will tell you where to drop their own people. You will drop their own people. They give you time. After they've confirmed that these are the people that they want, that is when they will now tell you that probably 48 hours or 72 hours, or let me say 48 hours, they will call you. They'll call you back to tell you where you will pick those girls. That is how it is being done all over the world. We are not dealing with, a new fight here. We are not dealing with fools. We are dealing with professionals. These are Al-Qaeda trained people. These are people that have gone to training in Sudan, in so many countries that they've been waging this war for a long time. So we need to understand how things like this work. So if you are having an idea that it's something that government will sit somewhere in one military command and control and start teaching out others, it doesn't work. We just have to. That's why I said it's a function of intelligence, and which I know that they are currently, saving as much information as they can to be able to establish the genuineness of the group to be committed to their own end of the bargain in fulfillment. So and I know that those that are actually handling this issue of dialogue are professionals. It is high time we need to begin to believe in our own people. For those who know me very well, I'm not speaking like a neophyte. I'm a retired DSS officer and I've been on the field. I can tell you for sure that we are one of the best in the world. And they are handling this issue the best way, better than bringing thousands of CIA into Nigeria. They cannot do it better than the way our girls. Unfortunately that we find ourselves in this situation, and the situation that any country. And then you said something before about saying that some countries say they don't dialogue. There is no country who doesn't dialogue. America dialogue with terrorists. I can tell you for sure. One thing is for a country to have something as a policy. Another thing is for it to be able to handle realities on ground. American dialogues, they do exchange. Israel do exchange. British do exchange. All countries of the world do exchange and they dialogue. So it's, unfortunately, we've watched too many movies, and we're beginning to try to believe that one Jack Bauer can come to Nigeria with some special strike force and extract. We should remember that even special forces went to Mogadishu to extract General Farah Haidid. They had the worst casualty in the history of American intervention, and that's the reason why they find it difficult to move into any country to go and extract. This is not like going to kill Osama bin Laden. This is about rescuing, bringing 200 girls home alive. If one of them should die in the cause, it's a loss. And it's a big loss. So a responsible government will try as much as possible to do everything it can to bring all the girls home alive. And I said before, it's not about apportioning blame. They say we need to put stop to blaming ourselves, blaming government, blaming opposition, blaming former government, blaming civil rights groups, blaming media. Let us come together. Let us accept this as our fault, as a collective responsibility, and then we'll pray for successful return of these girls.
But let me just quickly ask you one question, because I've actually been itching to ask you that question. You've painted quite a good situation. You talked about Somalia, when America intervened and the way it ended the way it ended. But let me take you back to Jordan. This happened not quite long ago when that Jordanian pilot was captured by ISIS, and the Jordanian government now negotiated the release of the pilot. Of course, the Jordanian government kept to its side of the bargain. When it came to the time that ISIS was supposed to release that pilot, ISIS did not keep to its own side of the bargain. As a matter of fact, the pilot was killed. Don't you feel
exactly? I said before, I said, if you have the idea or the belief that when you are negotiating that you are going to be in charge, I said it is not possible. Nowhere in the world that you will be negotiating a release of your own people with terrorists that you will be in control. You just have to take that leap of faith that they will. And I said before, it's a function of intelligence. You need to, gather enough intelligence. That will help you to conclude. To give that go ahead. That it is a go. So it's something I've addressed. We are not in control. When you are negotiating such, you are never in control. We need to have this at the back of my mind from the beginning, that we are not in control of negotiation. And no country can ever be in control when somebody is holding somebody so dear to you. Because they know that thing is so dear to you, and they will show you that they are in control. The life of their own men, it's not as precious as your own. So they can always play around and tell you that, okay, you are the one that wants your people back.
Well,
So they're always in control.
I absolutely understand. I absolutely understand. And thank you very much for your contributions. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Oluwaseun Adetayo, who joined us from Lagos Island. And of course, Nkechi Onyen. So thank you very much for coming on the program. And thank you very much for your contributions as well.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's it on the program. If you want to watch it again, it's simple. Just log on to our website, tv360nigeria.com. You'll find this video and lots more there. You can also watch us on YouTube by subscribing to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/TV360Nigeria. Do subscribe now to get the latest videos and updates. You can also join us on Google Plus at TV360Nigeria, or like us on Facebook. The address is facebook.com/TV360online. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our handle is at TV360online. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next week.